Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast. We're going to swing up into New Hampshire. We've got Kim Edwards on the call this week, and we're going to be talking about two different horses. One is a Morgan horse, and the other is a mare that is in the senior range. So without further ado, Kim, welcome to the Equinety Podcast.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on this call and sharing what happened. And it happened relatively quickly, so I'm just so excited to share this with everyone.
Good. Well, as always, we're always excited to have people on. And I came across your testimonials through one of the comments that you posted on our Facebook ad. And so I reached out to you and said, okay, let's hear more of this story. So first, let's talk about your Morgan. What was going on with your Morgan horse prior to coming across the Equinety?
Okay. Actually, they're both Morgans. They're both registered Morgans.
All right.
Yep. One's about 30 years old, and one is 20 years old. And the 30-year-old she has what's called Dropped Hocks, because she has this condition. It's she has more arthritis up in her hips now, and she's she has to walk a certain different way, and it's painful to her. So she's just been on a supplement called Butte and, pain relievers, that kind of thing. And I just want to say something here, because this is what led me to get the product for my 20-year-old Morgan. I was on Facebook and I saw someone had a testimonial for arthritis pain in their horses, and it was up in their hips. And someone had mentioned Dropped Hocks. I remember seeing that. So originally that's what caught my eye, because there's just not a lot of treatment out there for that I've ever seen, natural treatments. And then as I was going along, I'm seeing more posts about founder, which is really prevalent in Morgan horses, right when they hit around 20 years old and up. That's when it usually hits them. Actually, Secretariat, I believe, died of that. So it's a really big deal, because it affects their hooves and everything. So prior to that, so I told you about my older Morgan. She was just sort of on a pain regimen, to kind of help her with that. Nothing is going to fix Dropped Hocks. I've never seen, of course, anything that's going to fix arthritis, but you just kind of do that pain management thing. And the biggest, most drastic change that I saw was in my 20-year-old Morgan, because in October, John, what happened was he came down with founder in all four hooves. And he was walking like Frankenstein. He just could not walk one day. It was horrible. He's not really prone to it. He wasn't overweight. He didn't have a big crusty neck like a lot of Morgans do. He doesn't gorge on his food or anything like that. And he was tested. He didn't have a sugar imbalance. We just don't really know why he got this. So I was limping along with pain medications, of course, and something with the vet had given me something with an anti-inflammatory, but it's a Band-Aid kind of a thing. And he was getting just a little bit better. Every week he gets just a little bit better. But even it was 2 or 3 months later, he's still getting Butte at least once a week, because there were just some days that were cold and he couldn't even walk out of his stall. It was like that. So when I saw the Equinety, I said, okay, I'm going to get a sample for each one of the horses and see what happens, because my 20-year-old Morgan is really, actually, they're both finicky. I wasn't sure if they were going to eat it. And, your company was so great. You're like, what, just try it. If it doesn't work out, that's no problem. We'll take care of you there. And I don't know if you want me to keep going or if you have any questions before I tell you what happened.
Yeah, no, you're doing great, because, and I think for anyone out there, but especially the ones that do have Morgan horses and might be facing similar situations, but I think one of the important things to take away here too is, so this situation had popped up with the founder And although this particular horse didn't fit into the category, the tests weren't coming back that way, the vets kind of scratching their head. So it's kind of a mystery lameness type thing, although you kind of knew it was in the foundered area, but walking around like Frankenstein. So now you're like, okay, now what? Because this has been going on for, 3-4 months, you said?
Yeah, it was 3 months.
Yeah.
Yep, it was from October, November, and December. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started looking around, you found the Equinety product, and of course, first concern, which is typical of a lot of people, especially if you've been in the horse industry, and, palatability is a big thing, especially with picky horses.
Yeah.
One of the great things with the Equinety product, the serving size is only 5.2 grams. It's not even a tablespoon, so it's not very much at all. Yeah. Amino acids are kind of salty by nature, so typically they'll just lick it right up. So you order the Equinety, you're like thinking, well, hey, I'll just get one of the samples, which is 15 days a piece. So tell us what happened. You put a scoop in each of their feed buckets. So
I put a scoop in, and I actually tasted a little bit on my finger to see how salty it was, and it was just mildly salty. So I figured that my horses would eat it, but I just, wanted to check that out. And amazingly enough, all right, the next day, my twin sister who owns the farm where she has 3 Morgans and I have 2 there, she posts this video of my horse, and they have a big hay box up in the field. They're out on 10 acres and of pasture, and it's winter out and everything, and it's cold and it's icy, and the ice has points on it. That's what he was having a hard time. It's because it's like founder is just severe. It's like severe bruising. Mm-hmm. So they have a hard time walking on hard, pointy surfaces. Well, that's what we have right now in New England. That's the way it is, right? So, but he's up there, and she's got this video, and he is playing around and prancing. Okay, he looked like a carousel horse that had just spun off of a carousel. His feet were way up in the air. No, you won't believe this video.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm looking, and I'm like, is that Jordan? Like, what? What do you mean? And he went he was turning, he was rotating, he was doing circles, and just stomping with his feet. And I'm like, okay, this was less than 20. I gave him one dose. And I was like, okay, wow. And I've always known this, too. I have a background in natural nutrition also. Mm-hmm. And I figured, you know what? You can extend this to animals as well. And I've always known this about bioavailability. And that's one of the big reasons. I saw one of the posts, and someone from your company had said, this is how it works. It gets down to the cellular level.
Right.
It's not a Band-Aid. It's not like you're going to take an aspirin and it's just going to take the pain away temporarily. We're going to get to the root of, or try to get to the root of what, if you can repair your cells and get better cells, right? Your cells regenerate all the time. And if you have good nutrition and good, all that, your cells they're healthier.
Yeah,
and it can help your body heal faster, right?
Yeah, that's
so I knew that when I saw that word bioavailability. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to try this for my horse. And that's all I can tell you. And guess what else? Around that hay box, if you ever see this video, I'm going to get it to you so you can post it. But It's got my horse, and you can't miss him because he's the dancer prancer one that's going all around. All right, he's the sick one, supposedly.
Oh,
and my sister's horse, he's also a black Morgan, just like mine. And he's kind of pawing with his front, but he's not really dancing around or anything. He's just there. But the one to the left is the 30-year-old one with the dropped hocks.
Yeah.
Now, when horses like her are old and compromised and sick or ailing in any way or not, they don't feel their best, the herd shuns them, and they are willingly away. They get away from that herd. They don't want to get hurt. They know that they're the weakest link and all that. So when you see when I saw her up in the mix with the herd with one dose, I'm like, okay, these are just astounding results. I just thought, and so he just keeps getting better and better. And I think I'll probably keep him on this for the rest of his life because I don't really know what caused it. I know a little bit about what caused it, but why did it hit him so hard? He must have some weakness somewhere. And I really do. I think both of them will be on this for the rest of their life. I mean, for $1.10 a day, I think that's a really, really good deal.
Yeah, it is.
To keep my horse healthy and with my peace of mind and all of that. Yeah,
that's right. Well, I think it's a good segue too, because for those tuning in for the first time, maybe you're dealing with situations or head scratching things or mystery lameness issues or whatever the case might be. The really unique thing about this Equinety Horse Excel, it's 100% pure amino acids. There's no fillers, there's no sugars, no starches, there's no loading dose. And as I mentioned
that's
before,
the thing that got me.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say when I first got it, here's your 15-day sample, but, there's a loading dose. But then I thought, if it's bioavailable, no, there isn't any loading dose. No, there isn't going to be it. And I just knew it when I got it. I'm like, no, this is going to, all of those points are they're so important for listeners to hear this, because it's so, God, just try it, just try it.
Yeah,
absolutely. For that price, it's less than a cup of coffee at Dunkin'.
Oh,
it's crazy. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, so the getting into a little bit of the science of it, so talking about the bioavailability and everything. So the really neat thing with amino acids, they are so powerful. And, we do our best to do as much education as we can, but amino acids are the building blocks of protein. And so when you feed your horse protein, the challenge with the protein molecules is that it's actually too big to be absorbed. And so the body has to break that protein down into amino acids. So that takes time. Sometimes the proteins aren't all going to be broken down. And then depending on the quality of the protein will give you that quality of amino acids. So there's a lot of things that are going into play there. The neat thing with the Equinety product, it's already in the amino acid stage. And so the body doesn't have to do anything except absorb it. Now, the unique thing with the amino acids in the Equinety Horse Excel, they're specifically combined and formulated in this stack of 8 amino acids to stimulate the pituitary gland, which is the master gland in the body. And that's what releases the necessary hormones, which help heal at a cellular level. So this product, as you've experienced and explained, it actually starts working in 24 hours, which is a huge shocker for a lot of people that, I need to keep on a supplement for 60 or 90 days before I see results. The neat thing with this product is, we've heard of a lot of results happening within 3 days, sometimes 2, when they're dealing with stressed horses or high anxiety or a bit spooky. But I would say the vast majority, and I'm talking high 90 percentile, are seeing results in 30 days or less. And some of those results would tend to be stress, anxiety, spookiness. They're calmer. For the performance horse, in about a week of being on product, faster recovery, more stamina, and the focus is a big one. They haul better. You get into the 30-day mark, typically people notice softer, shinier coat. They start filling out top line, butt area. They're more balanced as a horse. And then you get into the 4 to 6 week mark is really where people start noticing the hoof growth, the sole depth. That's going to come along with time. We've seen that. We've actually have quite a bit of ads going now, but there's a few x-ray ones of significant sole depth within a couple months. So it is an amazing product. Now, I want to ask you this question because you had mentioned earlier that you had been having to give bute. Are you still having to give bute since you've been given the Equinety?
No.
Not at all. Nope. Yeah, and that
I haven't. No. Yeah. No, I haven't done that at all. But just, going for what you're saying here, I mean, when I speak of my older Morgan horse, it's really hard to keep weight on her. I don't want people going by going, wow, she's just so thin. It's like, it's just really hard to keep weight on her because she just is, she just doesn't want to eat when she doesn't feel well, that kind of thing. And so I'm really looking I know that it's going to help her from what you're saying here, it'll give her more stamina. It's going to help round her out. Mm-hmm. It's going to balance her. She'll feel better. And my hope is that when she has less pain in her hips, because I know her hooves are going to need to be shod. It's really hard right now for the farrier. He's like, I have to lift her whole body weight up because she can't even put a lot of weight on it because she's just so arthritic. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
So if this could help with that, that's just going to help everything. Like I'm just really hopeful for that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, I think it's also important too. This product, first and foremost, it is not a miracle product, although I tell people all the time.
Well, you can call it whatever you want, but it's a miracle for me.
Yeah, well,
I know you can't make any claims, but I'm like, God, I just, from where they were to where they are in such a short amount of time,
Yeah, it is.
I think that's what I told you. This is a miracle. I've just never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it sure makes.
But good nutrition does that.
Yeah, it sure makes you scratch your head a little bit sometimes when, because I tell people it's not a miracle supplement, but it can sure do some miraculous things. The other thing I think is also important too, because a lot of people, we get questions, should I stop everything else that I'm doing when I start the Equinety? Here's a great thing with this product, because it's amino acids, there are zero negative side effects with any medications or supplements or anything like that. So we always recommend not changing a thing that you're giving your horse, because you already know what your horse is doing. You have a baseline, in other words. So add the Equinety product to it. And then over the next couple weeks to 30 days, you should start seeing a significant enough difference where you might be able to reduce or sometimes take away. But again, we don't know your horse. I mean, you know your horse better than anybody, and you saw results in 24 hours, which is absolutely incredible. But yeah, so
I know.
I think those tuning in are going to get a lot out of this story, or these stories with these Morgans. So, well, if there's anybody that's tuning in for the first time that still might be on the fence as to whether, should I try this? Should I not? I've been looking at it. Other than everything else that you've said, what would you have to tell them to go ahead and give the product a try?
I would say emphatically, yes. Please do your animals a favor. I think I don't know if you can use it with dogs, but I mean, animals need this, and vets aren't going to give you this information. And yes, give it a try. For $1.10 a day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's a cup of coffee, guys. I think you can not go to Dunkin's for 30 days and save your money and get your animal on this. Because it's not something that you hear about a lot, but if you actually think about it, your body, their body, our bodies, when something's out of whack and something's in pain, it's trying to tell you something. And with horses, their whole life is in their hooves. It's that's the thing, John. I say to people, sometimes people filter things and they kind of want some sympathy, and they don't really tell people if they feel a little better on something because they still kind of want to feel sick and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But animals don't do that.
No.
And horses definitely don't. So when I saw my horse prancing around, it's like I don't know anything else, but I feel good. I feel good. Everything's good. So I knew that's the window to the soul with them. Everything will come out in their hooves.
Yep.
And for better or for worse, that's the way it is. So I would, help your animal, even if you're not sure. Just think, does that sound right? Yes. Get into the cellular level, because your body is all cells.
Yeah.
And they rejuvenate cells. Every, I don't know what it is with humans. Like your whole cells, they get replenished. Mm-hmm. But if you're getting really good nutrition and really good amino acids like you're describing, then those new cells coming up, guess what? They're healthier and healthier and healthier. That's why their coats get better. That's why they get more stamina. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I've got a background in that anyway, and I know that that's true. I know it is. And it just makes sense. So I would say, yes, try it.
Yeah.
I would say if you're giving your horse, like if your vet has giving them salt in their grain, or, there are some people out west that do that. They have to have a lot of salt. I would probably, if you add this Equinety to it and they, maybe have diarrhea or something like that, it's probably just cut out some of that salt you're giving them, because it's just probably not the right ratio with the salt. That's the only thing that I would say with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great.
But I don't do anything like that. Mine have salt licks, and I had no issues at all. I just love it.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, Kim Edwards out of New Hampshire, thank you so much for taking the time to share your stories here on the Equinety Podcast.
My pleasure.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.